Before I start this video, I would like to ask you one thing. Watch this video on Christmas Eve. For me, right now, it is 12:48 a.m. on the 24th. I'm making sure that it's not Christmas Eve anywhere yet on the world when I'm making this video, so that wherever you live, you are able to watch this video on Christmas Eve. So, if it's not yet Christmas Eve, then save this video for then. It'll be a fun experience. Alright, let's go. Time for the story of how Vector stole Christmas. All the Barians were excited. Being aliens didn't matter. They liked the holidays a lot. Except for Vector, as per the usual, who absolutely did not. Vector truly hated the holiday season, although nobody quite knew the reason. Everyone suspected it was because long ago he lost his mind, and with it, any ability to be nice and kind. Vector may not have grace, but he was very, very smart, and turned making misery into an art. Well, whatever his problem was, he'd sit watching Alit fumble to wrap Giluk's Sanagi-themed fan, Mirag trying on a new holiday dress of black and cyan, Nosh telling Yuma not to get involved with him by playing the cold man, and his mind would be set to buzz. Nosh is wrapping Yuma's present. Christmas is almost here. Vector kicked at one of the Baria crystals with a vicious sneer, for he knew, come the morning, when all of Heartland awoke, every girl and boy would rush towards the tree to play with every new card and toy. The one thing he hated was the hope and joy, joy, joy. Then, using their new cards, they would challenge each other to duels. It wasn't even the fun kind, where he could watch people kill each other like fools. They would compliment each other after each round, and to Vector, a compliment was such an awful sound. "I have to sup Christmas," Vector screamed, "and I have to do it now." But how? Then, Vector had an idea. Worse than Sargasso, worse than fake numbers, worse than everything. It was so evil and vile, it made his heart sing. "I know what I'm going to do," he exclaimed. "Christmas makes my heart boil with hate, and getting rid of it would make Nosh's boyfriend sad. Wouldn't that be great? All I need is a helper." Vector looked around, but since he was a jerk, there was none to be found. He couldn't steal Christmas alone, so off he went to the great god Don K. "Don Thousand," said Vector, ready to go on his merry way. "I want to steal Christmas from Heartland. Give me some power." "No," the god replied. "Christmas is boring, but it isn't one of my seals. Now get out." And Vector dodged tentacles that nicked his heels. So he called on Black Mist with promises of woe, gave him some horns and a great big red bow. "It's your uniform," a delighted Vector said. "Fuck you," replied Black Mist, with horns atop his head. Vector dyed his leather jacket red, because he could totally do that, you know. Loaded onto his team of umbrals several empty sacks, grabbed Black Mist, and flew out into the snow. Through the overlay network they flew, with questionable sanity, towards sleeping residents of Heartland in their bustling city. Crowed Vector, "This is great and not remotely delusional or insane." "Right," said Black Mist, who, by objecting, had nothing to gain. The Obots were on standby, not a duel was taking place, although each child dreamt of cards, with a smile on their face. He first stopped at Yuma's house. It was only appropriate. Nosh had been going on about a perfect present, so it was Vector's job to burn it. He had no wings now, so up he went, and busted in through the window vent. Sneaking through the house, he soon found the Christmas tree. Although humble, it was decorated to a modest degree. The little red stockings all hung nearly in a row, so naturally they were the first to go. Wicked Vector took everything. He took it all. The presents, the wreaths, the lights strung on the wall. He could have stolen the numbers, but that would have been too easy. He'd steal them later, after he pitched Yuma into misery. To the fridge he went, and cleared it all out. Into the bags the feast went, the rice, the cake, the grilled trout. Once he was done, he tossed the bags out the window, to Black Mist, who was expecting work this thorough. Vector grabbed the tree, hoisted it up with his Borean superpower, and was about to leave the house just on the hour, when behind him came a small ahem. It was Yuma, who'd awoken to solve his hunger problem. He looked incredulously at the sight quite queer, and asked, "What are you doing here?" "Well, Yuma," said Vector, lying through his teeth, "it's the holidays, so today I've turned over a new leaf. Your old tree is so dry it's nearly gone, so free of charge I'm giving you a new one." "There's no way that's true," Astral said. He had seen everything, since he never went to bed. But kind-hearted Yuma was easily convinced. "Okay," he exclaimed. "'Tis the season, after all. You Boreans don't have holidays, that's a real shame. But in Heartland, we're happy to have more people join in on our game. Why don't you stay for a while, and we'll duel, off the record." "No," Vector flatly replied, and left without another word. So Vector went about through the night, sneaking through houses and stealing decorations without a fight. A nauseous present to be hand-delivered to Yuma was, of course, burned on sight. It was 1:15 dawn when he finished his round. In all of Heartland there wasn't a single sound. When Vector prepared a portal to throw it all away, into the sea of ill intent it would all go, where no one dared stray. "They're just waking up now," Vector cried in delight, just in time to take in a tragic sight. I wonder how many of them cried, wish they had just fallen down and died. "You have issues," Black Mist retorted, but Vector paid him no mind, and bounded to the edge of the building, ready to find sadness of poor souls without Christmas to enjoy. But there was no despair, not a sad sound in the air. It was enough to make Vector pause, and rake at his jacket with his claws. Everyone in Heartland still was merry, fraught with cheer. People still dueled all over, far and near. He hadn't stopped Christmas at all. It was still here. Vector yelled, screamed, and tore at his hair, while Black Mist looked amused, without a single care. "How?" Vector shouted. "How could it be? This town of trash hadn't a single present, decoration, or tree. But they're still happy, complimenting and cheery. Shouldn't they be disappointed, mad, or weary?" Vector suddenly stopped. He felt ill in a rather strange way. It was like indigestion, but only happened when he looked at the sleigh. "Maybe," he mumbled, "I was actually wrong. Christmas was something different all along?" What happened then? Vector rushed back to the city, presents in tow, no longer instantly thinking of ways to bring woe. Took into the city all he stole, every duel disc, every card, even threw Yuma's Christmas tree back into his house from the yard. He returned every present, which he himself decorated with big red bows, although they might have been doused with nitroglycerin. Nobody really knows. And that was the story of how Vector stole Christmas. I hope you enjoyed. Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year.